So finally we have Jane Kelderman. Jane is an LPN with over 30 years of experience in long-term care, management, and administration. Known for her ability to get to the heart of things, Jane is most fulfilled when helping others believe in the best versions of themselves. While in Newfoundland, she served as Director of Care and helped open a new 100-bed retirement home in Conception Bay South. But we're lucky to have her here in Nova Scotia now at Maritime Oddfellows home in Pictou. There, Jane and her dedicated team work to redefine the possibilities for individuals living with dementia, creating a culture of dignity, equality, and respect. So I'll invite you, Jane.
Thank you very much. My grandmother lived to be 100 years old, and she was one of, if not the most influential woman in my life. She was the type of grandmother that you always wanted to remember, even when she could no longer remember any of us. It wasn't entirely that long ago that I decided to begin a running journey. Now, if I have both feet off the ground, heading in one direction that isn't down, then I consider that running. I was a bit embarrassed by my starting out, and I decided to keep this from public knowledge. I did not feel comfortable to run outside. I was not yet for public viewing. And keeping to myself, I dusted off the treadmill in my basement, hidden underneath everything, and I had full expectations of going from never having run a day in my life to being on the cover of Runner's World magazine in about 7 days. This, to my dismay, proved to be difficult. Ignoring my disappointment, I persevered and continued to maintain my goal of becoming one of the elite. You know who you are. You know exactly who you are. You Boston Blue Nose Marathon kings and queens, effortlessly completing a morning run, the heart of a champion, the legs of a gazelle, gently wiping away the perspiration off your brow with one hand and a Starbucks in the other. I decided to confess my journey of running to my grandmother, and she was interested. In fact, the first question she had was, "Where do you run?" Assuming that she shared the same vision of myself as I did, I was a triathlete after all, I answered with vulnerability, saying, "Oh, I don't run outside." Her response, "Oh, good, dear. Nobody wants to see that." And there it was. Reality, raw, the ugly truth, if you will, but it was human. It was a human thing that happened there. My grandmother's story is no different than anyone else with dementia. In fact, I do consider myself quite lucky to have the last words that she said to me be, "I love you." That doesn't happen very often with dementia. I am not here today to remind you of how random, relentless, and absolutely frightening dementia is. Instead, I am here to represent a long-term care home that sees the humanity and the light within it. The Maritime Oddfellows home is located on the picturesque town of Pictou, along a harbor and by the sea. We are a long-term care home of 47 residents. Within this home, we have 3 neighborhoods, one of which is a memory care neighborhood. We are a community within a community, and we have been since 1923. The administrator, the board of directors, decided a new philosophy would be needed to enhance the already existing foundation of care. And in 2022, we were introduced to the Montessori-inspired lifestyle. It is an evidence-based approach to person-centered care. The principles we live by were created by Dr. Maria Montessori and adapted for older adults by the Center of Applied Research for Dementia. There are 12 key principles to develop a Montessori lifestyle. Highlighted, they simply are: things have to have a purpose. A resident has to have a purpose. Meet people where they're at, remembering that what we do for a resident may be taking from a resident. And think engagement. If a resident is engaged in an activity, then you're successful. The home has a Montessori pledge, and I will condense this into staff and residents respect and honor the friendships between them. We gain and work for the trust of those we care for and each other. I'll treat you the way I want to be treated. Our Montessori team have completed and set goals and milestones for a Montessori timeline, bronze, silver, and we are on our way to gold. This has taught us to think differently about dementia. It is, after all, a human thing. Our Montessori lifestyle looks like this. We created wayfinding tools, cognitive ramps to improve resident independence. If you forget where you're going, well, a sign always helps. The exterior of each room is designed to portray the outside of a house. This is the resident's home, and we are guests within that home. We want to help residents do as much as they desire. Oh, the power of being given a choice. There are family centers and coffee bars located in our neighborhoods. I'm pretty sure that coffee is a human thing. I'm just going to say that. Welcoming a new resident is important to us and other residents. When a new resident arrives, they receive their own name badge. A current resident with a teddy bear made by a resident and a poem written by a resident is given personally as a welcome home. Tools have been developed such as the Montessori recommendation form, and they are used by staff to engage residents effectively and to offer some solutions to challenging behaviors. We don't necessarily call challenging behaviors such. We call them responsive behaviors. Responsive behaviors in dementia represent unmet needs. Repetitive questions, wandering, agitation, and other forms of behaviors drop drastically when a resident lives in a community that supports their biological, their psychological, and social needs. Resident-led programs like square dancing and sign language classes always prove to be effective. Community roles are also a human thing. A side note, grandkids and animals are always a bonus. A truly remarkable example of meaningful engagement is this past summer's Butterfly Project. The quality of life in long-term care home is highest when a person with dementia is involved with purposeful activities that fit their abilities. They have a purpose, a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Butterflies did that. And having watched and waited for 3 monarch butterflies go from egg stage to adult stage, this was a journey of education for both residents and staff. And on a spectacular summer day, we had them released into the wilderness. This was led by a staff member who not only shared her knowledge on the topic, but her dream of maybe one day traveling to central Mexico, migrating like the monarch. Sharing knowledge and dreams is a human thing. A Montessori lifestyle is a philosophy, and at the heart of that philosophy are the caregivers. They make it all happen. I am honored to not only represent a team here today, but an entire organization that has some of the absolute best. In preparation for this presentation, I consulted staff members inquiring, what do you feel is at the center of our community. Unanimously, the answer was, it's how we all care. And yes, that is a human thing. It's the maintenance team staying longer than their shift to make sure that a resident has the proper row-home mattress for the night. It's the office manager consoling a family member after the loss of a loved one. It is the environmental services staff helping a nurse, dropping her tasks to help a scared resident getting blood work done. It is the unwritten rule, the absolutely unnegotiable rule, that when a resident is deemed palliative, they will not be alone. And it's the CCA on her day off that comes in to make sure that doesn't happen. It is the director of care with a plan of care and encouraging those around her to see every bit of success in it. And it is the administrator that believes all of this can happen. It is a double-edged sword to have the heart of a healthcare worker. You have to see the ugly. You have to see the loneliness and the confusion. You have to see the broken parts. We take these broken parts and heal them, even if it's only for a moment in the day. Want to know what's human? We don't remember days, we remember moments. And that is nothing more and nothing less than a human thing. I will conclude with a video that our Montessori team at the Maritime Oddfellows home believe captures the essence of our home every single day. It is merely a small glimpse into the human moments that we share together. Thank you very much.